So, guys, just because it's the 4th of July does not give you an excuse to drink and drive. All right? It's 2021. You literally have no reason in the world to get behind the wheel if you are drunk. So, either wait where you're at and don't leave, sober your ass up. Call an Uber, call a Lyft, call a taxi, go on a city bus, call your best friend, call 20 friends. It doesn't matter. Do not get behind the wheel drunk. There's really no reason for it. Be careful. And if you think you're a better driver buzzed, you got a lot of interesting things that you have to kind of figure out in your life. So we're just going to leave that to you. But seriously, don't drink and drive. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please think about sticking around, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Everybody else, thank you so much for being part of this journey with me. I couldn't do this without you, and I'm inching closer and closer to my goal of 1,000 subscribers. I'm almost to 200. I know this has taken a long time. I know this is a lot of hard work, but this is definitely a goal of mine, and I'm going to continue to keep working towards that goal. Before I go on with today's video, I just want to remind you guys to take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to not just myself, but your other YouTubers that you're supporting, big and small. I also want you to do that for your small businesses, your friends that are hustling, and anybody else in your life that needs this boost. Guys, this is a free way to help us out, and it means the world. Please know that every comment counts, every like counts, and even if you don't like it, that still helps too. Help us grow by doing something that takes less than 30 seconds and is completely free. All right, so today I'm going to start with talking about what a conservatorship is. As I alluded in my last video, I have some experience with this, and I want to let people know how odd this whole thing with Britney Spears is. Now, I apologize. I haven't been following her story for the past, 12 or 13 years. I didn't understand how much she's gone through until recently. Now, I do have a life, so that probably is why, but I'm shocked that it ever got this far. So let's back up a little bit. Why does somebody need a conservatorship? Well, this is something that Rose says hi. This is something that people get that happens when other fail-safes have failed. So, meaning things like normal day-to-day care has failed. Anything that is done in order to help the individual is not working because it's not something that is helping them be capable of understanding decisions. So let me give you an example. This is just an example, nothing real, but this is an example of things that could have a conservatorship. So let's say that you have a parent that had a stroke. Now, could be, depending on the severity of the stroke, there could be a temporary time when your parent cannot make legal decisions for themselves. That is because they're either too ill or they're not able to speak or communicate. This is when a power of attorney comes in. This is not when a conservatorship comes in. A power of attorney is something that is usually set up by family members when something happens like this. Only when there is an issue, such as a stroke, is a power of attorney activated. If you are a power of attorney for a parent, a friend, your sibling, your spouse, it will not be activated until it is necessary. And the thing is, it may never, ever become necessary. This is a temporary solution and is only activated during the time of need. So, for example, let's say that someone you know had a stroke and had to be in rehab for 3 weeks in order to even get to the point where they could communicate. During that time, as the power of attorney, you would be paying bills and making all decisions depending on your role. You may be a medical power of attorney, you might be a financial power of attorney, you might be both. You also could hire a lawyer to do all of this. Most people do not do this because the price of actually having a lawyer do all of this work for you is astronomical. So most people hire a lawyer to do a one-time paperwork unless something changes, to have people in place for a power of attorney. Now, if there is more than one person for the power of attorney and that person can no longer fulfill their duties or passes away, it goes 100% to the other person. So this can be a team effort. The difference is this is, again, temporary. A conservatorship is something that is much more in depth than this. There are so many steps that take place in order to have a conservatorship. And like I said, I alluded to this in my last video, I have experience with this. I'll give you a little bit of details about it, but there are some truly evil people in this world. I already don't have a good taste in my mouth for conservatorships, and knowing what I know and seeing what happened to Brittany Spears, it's truly a disgusting thing, and they really, really need to look at conservatorship as a whole, because right now it's something that people can take advantage of if they don't have the right people. So a conservatorship happens when it is beyond the point of a power of attorney, or beyond the point of the person being capable of making any sort of decisions for themselves. This would mean that they would be in such a severe state that they could not mentally or physically or both be able to take care of themselves and their own assets. But this is more than just money. This means that this person is not physically able to take care of themselves, down to the very basic needs. Standing up, walking, sitting down, using the toilet, brushing their teeth, putting on their own clothing. This is something that people have to be almost 100% reliant on other things and other people, equipment, and entities to help them through their day-to-day life. For example, somebody who is in a coma, somebody who is in extreme dementia disorder, extreme Alzheimer's, extreme medical conditions. Guys, this is not something that is easy to get at all. And the thing is, you must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the person who you are questioning to have a conservatorship is completely lacking and unable to take care of themselves in any way, shape, or form. And this is where the problem comes. I had a family member who shall be nameless try to get my mother, who had a very massive stroke. Actually, this was just before my mom had the stroke. This is actually just after my dad died. And my mom, unfortunately, was having many strokes that we didn't know about at the time, and was had a massive depressive order. So there was a very specific family member that tried to get her declared mentally incompetent in order for a conservatorship to happen. And this individual wanted full reign over this conservatorship. The thing is, the person who is getting or being reviewed for the conservatorship has to be evaluated multiple times. It's not just one time, it's several. And then you have to appear in court. So the first evaluation takes place verbally between the client and the lawyer by themselves, with no interference or nobody else in the room. They do ask simple questions, such as who the President of the United States is, what year is it, when was your birthday, do you have any children, do you have a spouse, what are their birthdays, what do you do for a living, things like that. If those are all answered to the best of the person's ability and they pass, most of the time things stop then. The lawyer will write up a report and say that this person is completely competent and can make their own decisions, but they can recommend something like a power of attorney. Now, my beautiful family thought this wasn't good enough because my mother passed. They brought in her therapist, the person she'd been working with for years, to get her evaluated. She passed again. They also weren't okay with this. So they tried to get an independent therapist to declare my mother legally incompetent so there could be a conservatorship in place for her. Guess what? My mom was competent. Now, I want to point out that my mom had dementia. Yeah, my mom had dementia. And yes, there was going to be a time in her life that her life was going to deteriorate and she was going to need more care. But until that point, she was completely capable of making her own decisions. That is something that is your right. And that is something that, thank God, the people that I worked with in the court system took incredibly seriously, because I fought for my mother's independence. This family member went on about 15 more times to try to get my mother declared legally incompetent so he could have conservatorship. It never came to fruition. They couldn't even go to court and have any sort of hearing because there wasn't any evidence that my mother was incompetent and couldn't take care of herself, even though she had some mental issues, even though she had dementia. So knowing that Brittany Spears has under a conservatorship means that it only lasts a year. That's one thing I don't understand. A conservatorship lasts legally 1 year, and then it has to be renewed every single year. There has to be a very vast, indefinite look at the person, because just because just because they may not be competent at the beginning of a conservatorship does not mean that a year after the conservatorship has started, that they have actually done better. Things are left open for this reason because of advancements in medical treatments. There are people who have had to be in a conservatorship for 1 year, but were able to get off of it afterwards because of therapy and other things that they went through. If they are competent legally, then there is no need for conservatorship. So conservatorship is one person making all the decisions, but also making sure that all the day-to-day things are taken care of. Meaning, dressing them, brushing their teeth, anything like that. The fact that Britney Spears has one, and she can do all of these things on her own, and they have her working, tells me that there is literally no legal need for this at all. And when people say over and over again, we don't know what her mentally stable condition is or is not, I can tell you for a fact, I've been in that world. It takes a lot to get to the point where you have to be in a conservatorship because of your mental health. And I can tell you that since she was functioning and putting on her own clothes, brushing her own teeth, washing her hair, walking outside, being made to work, being made to dance, being made to work out, being made to do all of these things. I mean, she was singing in Vegas and stuff, guys. This is completely and utterly bogus. And it makes me so angry because I had to fight so hard for my mother, who is now dead. But even until her last day, she would not have been declared legally incompetent and had to have a conservatorship. Power of attorney, yes. I was that person and I took care of her to the best of my abilities, and I will fight anybody who ever tries to say anything differently, because there are a few people out there in my life, and you know who you are, who tried to get my mother declared legally incompetent more than once. I will bring the fires of hell on you if you try to say anything. And you're lucky that I'm not saying your name, because I have everything in black and white. So does my lawyer. But anyway, I digress. Britney Spears should not be in a conservatorship, period. Because the second that she is able to function on her own, it's null and void. This makes me very angry. I was lucky in my situation. But this girl who is a millionaire is literally living in a prison right now because of a conservatorship that she should not be in. So that's my 2 cents on it. I'm very passionate about it because it tells me that if this woman, grown woman, who can voice her own opinions, and she understands what day it is, she knows who the president is, and many other things, is being held basically against her will in this conservatorship. Shame on you people. And God forbid, who else is having to fight this? Conservatorships should not exist in the form that they are now if it's going to continue to be prison, used as an excuse for prison for people who are in an unfortunate situation. All right, guys. Well, that is my quick lesson on conservatorship and why it's so personal to me. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments. No problem. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in this world. Let's keep the hashtag Free Brittany going, and let's remember that if this is happening to her, it's happening to a lot of nameless people who are in a terrible situation. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Until then, bye for now.